All right, guys, let's do another Green Bay Packers 7-round mock draft, a week and a half removed from the start of NFL free agency. And in my last video, I asked you guys if you wanted to see trades or not. And although it was kind of a conflicted response, a lot of people wanted trades, some people still didn't want trades. I'm going to go ahead and finally include trades in my 7-round mock draft for the Green Bay Packers. I want to do this because we have 6 mock drafts left. We just got through free agency, or at least the main portion of it. The Packers made a couple splash signings. Yeah, sure, they could sign a couple of veterans here or there, but we're pretty much done with free agency. And let's face it, the Green Bay Packers have 11 draft picks. They're tied for first for the most draft capital in this draft. That's not going to remain. Brian Gutekunst is going to use his draft capital as ammunition, whether that's to trade up in certain scenarios or trade down and package things together. I really doubt the Packers are going to end up with 11 draft picks coming out of this 2024 draft. So I wanted to include them and do them for the next 6 mock drafts because I wanted to start to see maybe situations where the Packers could trade up for what players and what that would cost. And I'm actually going to be using the Rich Hill draft value chart, which is an accurate chart that basically assesses a number value to any particular draft pick. And quickly, as you see on the screen here, I have Green Bay's highlighted so you can see all their picks throughout the 7 rounds, each of which have a number assigned to it. So those numbers have to equate. Say if you're trading for someone else's pick, you have to equate that number. So for example, Green Bay picking at 25, that pick is worth 230 points. If they wanted to go up to 16 for Seattle, that's 305 points. They would have to make up that difference of 75 points. I'm not going to just use PFF's trade simulator for the mock draft because a lot of the time the value just simply isn't correct and you can get away with some pretty unrealistic trades. So for the rest of the mock drafts that I do include trades, I will be using the Rich Hill draft value chart. All right, so now let's dive down into this mock draft. I don't think much has changed since last Thursday. Right after I did the mock draft last Thursday, the only difference was right away they re-signed A.J. Dillon. It was right after in that mock I was talking about the Packers still, potentially drafting a running back kind of early, which they still can, but they re-signed A.J. Dillon for very cheap, and running back likely will still be a draft pick. Other than that, I think re-signing Corey Ballantyne happened after that mock draft, but nothing too massive, so Packers' needs all kind of remain the same. All right, so without further ado, let's bring up the draft screen. So we pick at 25, but unlike the rest of the mock drafts, we're going to keep an eye out for a couple of players potentially to trade up for, so let's get to that point. So quickly, let's go over the picks that happened so far. Caleb Williams at 1, Drake May at 2, surprisingly Marvin Harrison at 3 to the Patriots, Malik Neighbors to the Cardinals, Rome Odunze at 5 to the Chargers, Joe Alt to the Giants, Quinyon Mitchell, the first cornerback off the board at 7 to the Titans, Dallas Turner to the Falcons, Jared Verse to the Bears, Fashanu to the Jets, J.J. McCarthy at 11 to the Vikings, Jaden Daniels fell all the way to 12 here to the Broncos. Brock Bowers at 13 to the Raiders. Latham to the Saints. Fatanu to the Colts. Fuega to the Seattle Seahawks. Byron Murphy to the Jags. Nate Wiggins to the Bengals. Latu to the Rams. Graham Barton to the Steelers. I've seen Graham Barton continue to rise. And Amarius Mims to the Miami Dolphins. So I stopped right here at 22 because if you haven't noticed something, Cooper DeJean is still on the board. And I think if we were to let this ride, one of the Eagles or the Vikings are definitely going to take Cooper DeJean. I would think the Vikings would do that. So I'm going to try to jump the Vikings. Obviously, this is a trade the Vikings made recently with the Houston Texans, which is annoying because it's like they're 2 picks ahead of the Packers. And this seems to happen every year where they select the player that we like. So in this mock draft, I'm not going to allow that to happen. And for the first time in all of my mock drafts, it's going to be possible to go and get Cooper DeJean. So in order to make this trade happen, judging by the Rich Hill value chart, so first we'd swap 25 and 22, of course. We'd also have to give up our 4th round at 126 and also our comp pick in the 6th round at 219. That would equate the same exact value. This Packers pick at 25 is worth 230 points. The Eagles at 22 is worth 253 points. The difference here at 126 and 219 equates exactly to 253. So if we go ahead and offer that trade, the Philadelphia Eagles accept it. And interestingly enough, there are a ton of great players on the draft board here at 22. So, in theory, one of JPJ, Newman, Arnold, Newton, or DeJean would have fell to us at 25, but I'm almost certain DeJean would have been off the board here at 22 or at pick 23 with the Minnesota Vikings. And how great would it be to jump the Minnesota Vikings and steal the player right from under their nose and get a player such as Cooper DeJean, which we haven't looked at too much in my mock drafts, because before this, he'd always go top 7, but now PFF has implemented where you can kind of move a slider more towards the public board, which is where this is right here. DeJean going in the 20s at this point. He didn't participate in the combine. He's coming off a broken leg, which I'm not worried about. I still think he's one of the best athletes, cornerbacks in this draft, and he can do so much for you. You can put him outside. You can put him in the nickel. A lot of people say he could be a safety. I see him as a cornerback. I see him either outside or in the nickel. You can move him around. He has the athleticism 100%. Last year, 77.4. He allowed a 37.8 passer rating. The year before that, he allowed a 49.7 passer rating, had 5 interceptions. Last year, he had 2 interceptions. Great coverage grade, great run defense grade, probably one of the best tackling or run defending cornerbacks out of this entire class. 6 incompletions, only had 5 missed tackles, had 5 coverage stops. He mainly played outside cornerback, 630 snaps. Last year, he had some decent amount of snaps in the slot, 140, but he could definitely play there in the NFL. I think he can really play anywhere, and the Packers need this type of guy in that defensive back room, in the cornerback room, to either play nickel or play outside or even play deep if they really, really need him to. But like I said, I see him as a cornerback, and I think if the Packers want this guy, which I know a lot of us want the Packers to go and get Cooper DeJean, I think they're going to have to trade up a tiny bit right around here to 22, which doesn't cost that much. You're not getting rid of any of your second rounds or any of your third rounds. And I think this would be a perfect match. So at pick 22, after the trade up with the Philadelphia Eagles, we are going Cooper DeJean, cornerback out of Iowa. Before we dive into round 2, I want to let you guys know that today's video is, of course, being sponsored by none other than BetUS. And right now on BetUS, you can still get a 125% deposit match on your first 3 deposits up to $2,500. And also right now on BetUS, they have a couple prop bets that they released on Josh Jacobs, the new Packers running back. So right now, you can bet on Josh Jacobs over or under 1,500 rushing yards. I think Josh Jacobs cracks 1,000 yards this season. That's at -120. Both of these lines are at -120. So it's pretty much just you betting, hey, is Josh Jacobs going to get 1,000 yards? And I think he will. I think he's going to have a bounce back year from last year with that horrible Raiders offensive line, come to the Green Bay Packers, and he's going to be a power horse running back. You can also bet on touchdowns over or under 7.5 touchdowns, which I'd say he probably gets over that as well, but I'm going to bet on the yards. So we're going to quickly place a little bet on this, $25 to win $20.83. So we're going to go ahead and place that bet. You guys can tail my bet and then blame me if it loses, but I don't think it does. I think Josh Jacobs gets over 1,000 yards this year. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you think Josh Jacobs will get over 1,000 yards? Again, thank you to BetUS for sponsoring today's video.
BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer, a 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
To wrap up the picks at the back end of the first round, didn't see another situation where I felt the need to trade up yet again. Terrion Arnold goes at 23 to the Vikings. Now, I was thinking like, hey, should I just go ahead and get Terrion Arnold? But I do like Cooper DeJean better. So Vikings get a cornerback. So I still think they would have selected DeJean over Arnold if he did fall to 23 and say the Eagles didn't take him. Brian Thomas to the Cowboys, Jerzon Newton to the Eagles. I really did like Jerzon Newton as well. Is someone I've been eyeing. So, sitting there 25, could have still had Jerzon Newton. That's definitely an option. JPJ to the Bucks, Adonai Mitchell to the Cardinals, Tyler Guyton to the Bills, TJ Tampa to the Lions, Kool-Aid McKinstry to the Ravens. Just had a nice pro day. He'll probably rise up boards again back into the first round like he is here. Chop Robinson obviously flying up boards at 31 to the San Francisco 49ers, and Darius Robinson at 32 to the Chiefs. So we're on the board here at pick 41, and there's some players a little bit farther down that I'm eyeing, and I might try to recoup maybe that 4th round draft selection. Now, I do really like Braden Fisk, and I know a lot of people are going to be commenting already, oh, you should have 100% went Braden Fisk here with this pick at 41, but I feel like, other positions are a bigger position of need. Offensive lineman, linebacker, right? Yes, the Packers could use another defensive lineman like Braden Fisk, but they're switching to a 4-3. They have Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt, TJ Slayton, Carl Brooks, Colby Wooden. Wooden can definitely play some edge. Brooks probably could as well. But it's kind of a stacked room. I'm not saying you can't add more talent to that room, but spending a high draft pick here on a defensive lineman, I'm not sure if I really want to. I'm also very tempted to take someone like Jordan Morgan, who has some guard tackle versatility, but I think there are some other tackles down the board a bit that I like, that I think just better value for where we're going to be picking. So I'm going to try to move down 8 spots and trade with the Cincinnati Bengals and pick up their 4th round here at pick 115. So we're swapping 41 and 49, and we're picking up 115. This is about exactly the same value on the Rich Hill draft value chart. So we're going to go ahead and offer that trade, and of course it will be accepted. Now let's get to our pick. So now we're on the board at 49, and the player I traded down for a little bit was Edgerrin Cooper. I think if we can get Cooper in round 1 and Cooper in round 2, name it Cooper squared, I think those 2 first draft picks, oh man, I'd be ecstatic. Getting Cooper DeJean followed by Edgerrin Cooper just shows up 2 positions of need massively. And yeah, Edgerrin Cooper more of a will linebacker, kind of like the coverage guy, the sideline to sideline guy. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, the Packers want to put Quay Walker at the will. I think Quay Walker can be a Mike. I think he can be a green dot helmet type of guy. I think Edgerrin Cooper would be an awesome add into this linebacker room. You'd probably have Isaiah McDuffie at the Sam, Quay Walker at the Mike, and Edgerrin Cooper at the will, at least in a 4-3 base look. And we've talked about Edgerrin Cooper a ton, and I think he would be an awesome add to this defense. A 90.8 PFF grade last year, great run defense, great coverage grade, pretty average missed tackle rate. He had 19 coverage stops, 37 run stops. I think he's an awesome value here. Also at pick 49, a lot of people have him sneaking into the first round. A lot of people have him as linebacker 1 over Peyton Wilson. I do as well. I like him better than Peyton Wilson, and I think if you were to nab him here at 49, on top of trading up a little bit and getting Cooper DeJean, and then trading back here, getting back that 4th round and an even better one, and still getting Edgerrin Cooper, that would be a home run in my opinion. So here at pick 49, we are going Edgerrin Cooper, linebacker out of Texas A&M. All right, so we're actually going to do another trade. We're at 58, but we're sitting at pick 56 right now, and Javon Bullard is just off the board, and I'm eyeing a certain safety, and I think just if I don't trade up here and I wait past the Cowboys and the Buccaneers, he's going to be off the board. And this is very easy to move up. You simply have to give up a 6th round. Pick 202 would move you up these 2 spots in the 2nd round. So if we go ahead and offer that trade, the player I was looking at is Jaden Hicks from Washington State. I've been talking about him a lot in different mock drafts, and I feel like I've yet to be able to mock him to the Green Bay Packers. And man, he is the definition of a good box safety, and that's exactly what the Packers need right now. He has that prototypical size at safety, 6'3", 212. Taking a look at his summary here, Hicks is a well-built, strong safety who can play at all 3 levels of the field. He's a tone-setting tackler and has starting potential in 2 safety systems, especially as a strong safety / robber over the middle, which right now is what the Packers are looking for. Like if they're going to go 1 deep, it's going to be Xavier McKinney out deep, but if they want a guy to drop into the box to help against the run or be in a robber role at a 2 deep system safety where he, post-snap drops down in, Jaden Hicks is your guy. An 83.0 coverage grade last year, above average run defense grade, great forced incompletion rate, 10 coverage stops, 24 run stops, tied for 13th in the nation, forced 4 incompletions, had 2 interceptions, only allowed a passer rating of 73.3. And box snaps, 456 snaps in the box, also some snaps in the slot, so you can move him around, but also 200 snaps deep. I think he's one of the most versatile safeties and one of the best box safeties in this draft class. And I think he's tremendous value here in the back end of the 2nd round, and we only get to move up 2 spots here. I just think the Buccaneers or the Cowboys, one of those 2 teams would have selected him. So with this pick, we are going Jaden Hicks, safety out of Washington State here in the 2nd round. So we're back on the board in round 3. Yes, I didn't do any more trades since we have 2 picks in the 3rd round. I like a lot of the players that fall right around pick 90. Now, a couple running backs on the board. Blake Corum here at the top. I know a lot of people, it's a split thing on Corum. It's either you love him or you hate him. There's no in between, right? Then we also have Trey Benson, who I believe the Packers just met with. Now, this is a spot where I could see the Packers going running back, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. I like some of the running backs a little bit later. Yes, they brought back A.J. Dillon, but they could still cut him before the season with no loss of money, so that very well could happen. Say if the Packers were to draft a Trey Benson here and he won that running back 2 spot. But the Packers very well could also just keep Dillon because he's so cheap. We also have Cameron Kinchins, who has continued to fall and fall and fall. I think his RES is like a 2. We know how the Packers love their athletes. They very, very rarely pick an under like 6 to 7 RAS. And I'm not saying Kinchins isn't an on-field athlete and he plays a lot better than that on the field, but I'm just simply not sure if the Packers even have him on their draft board at this point. So we just went safety as well with Jaden Hicks, and I'm very comfortable if we have, McKinney, Hicks. We also still have Anthony Johnson Jr. So right here, the player I have my eyes on is Cedric Van Pran, and he's someone I've been looking at here in the third round a lot because I think he gives you needed depth at the interior, and a potential replacement for Josh Myers. And Van Pran, one of the better centers in this draft class. In his description, Van Pran is a high IQ center prospect whose acumen, experience, and physical mentality warrant a shot at a starting role, center only, in a man/gap heavy scheme, despite some athletic limitations. And since we just went 3 straight defense, Cooper DeJean, Edgerrin Cooper, and Jaden Hicks, I think it's about time we turn and look at the offense. I do believe the Packers could go heavy defense to begin this draft, right? Go get Jeff Hafley, his guys, to build the best defense possible. I think if you bring in a new defensive coordinator, you're probably going to spend more of your draft capital on defense, in my opinion. So now we'll go some offensive linemen. And the first one here is going to be Cedric Van Pran, center from Georgia. So we're back on the board at 91, and I think I might try to trade down to around 100 here, or maybe the very start of the 4th round, because there's just so much talent on the board here. Like I'm really ready to take a tackle here, and I like Pooney better than I do Patrick Paul, and Paul's still on the board because Pooney has some guard versatility. We also have Mason McCormick, who's a nice guard. Kinchins is still here, both of the running backs, DTD, Jerry and Jones, Kalen Bullock, Sion Vaki. There's so much talent right here, so I think I'm going to try to trade down and get another pick. So I'm going to try to trade with Carolina, like I said, right at the beginning of that 4th round there at pick 101. We're going to be swapping 91 and 101, but we're going to be picking up 142, and then we're going to be giving a 7th round this year and a 7th round next year. It's right around the same value on that chart, so we'll go ahead and offer that trade and get to our pick. So, of course, both of the tackles go. Patrick Paul at 97 and then Pooney at 100. I was thinking, hey, let me trade back to 100, not 101. I really want Pooney, and of course he goes at 100. That's just sometimes the game you play when you do trades in a mock draft. So that kind of switches up my draft here a little bit. I'm very tempted to go another safety here. I mean, we have Kalen Bullock, we have DTD, and we also have Vaki. I like DTD better out of all of these 3, but we could also go running back. We have someone like Ray Davis, we have Marshawn Lloyd on the board, or we could go defensive line, Michael Hall and Dwayne Carter on the board. And Michael Hall is someone that, man, adding him to this defensive line, I think would be insane. 6'2", 280, can play some defensive tackle, can play some edge, right? You can kind of move him around a bunch. He gives you more versatility, and we know how much the Packers love their versatile guys. We see an 84.8 pass rush win rate of 18.3%, also really good run stop rate, 7.3%. Last year he had 2 sacks. The year before that he had 5 sacks. But at the same time, the Packers kind of have 2 guys similar to that, right, with Colby Wooden and Carl Brooks. I think they're very similar to Michael Hall. Yeah, Michael Hall is lighter than I believe Colby Wooden and Carl Brooks, but in my opinion, they're kind of similar. So I think I might double dip into safety here. So right now, with this mock draft and free agency, we have Xavier McKinney and also Jaden Hicks. Jaden Hicks being that drop down box type of safety. The Packers could definitely go 2 to 3 safeties in this draft class, and DTD sitting here at pick 100. He's someone I normally don't mock draft because he's in a spot where we usually don't pick, right? We pick at 88 and 91. It's a little too early for him, and then it's a long wait until our next pick. I do really like him because he also has versatility, mainly been a deep safety, but has some snaps in the slot, 202 snaps in the slot. Last year, a 78.5, good run defense, good coverage, great missed tackle rate, great forced incompletion rate, only allowed a passer rating of 65.0, 20 receptions on 35 targets. He's a ball hawk, 4 interceptions. And man, this was just sure up that safety room. Adding Dadrian Taylor Demerson with Jaden Hicks to Xavier McKinney. Man, look out opposing offenses. So we are going DTD here at pick 101, safety out of Texas Tech. Here at pick 115 in the 4th round, we got to go offensive line, right? Like the Packers are always selecting offensive linemen in the 4th round. And I know you might be thinking, oh, he's going to go Cooper Beebe. He goes Cooper Beebe every mock draft. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to go Christian Jones out of Texas. We already got Van Pran, an interior, center guy. The Packers are going to want to tackle. And yeah, I would have liked to get a tackle that has a little bit more versatility, a guy that could maybe slide into guard. And Christian Jones, has that size the Packers like, 6'6", also 321 pounds here. Great grades last year, run block, pass block, only allowed 1 sack last year. Mainly played right tackle the last 2 years, but also played left tackle in 2021. In my opinion, there's a decent drop-off after this at tackle, and we've neglected it up to this point. I really wanted to get Pooney with our last pick, but he went right before us. There's other players on the board. You could go Audric Estime at running back. Like I said, Cooper Beebe, but we already got an interior guy, so I'm going to get a tackle here. I'm going to go Christian Jones, tackle out of Texas here at 115. Here in round 5, I think I'm going to go defensive line. We skipped it with Michael Hall and instead went with DTD. Now, someone I really like is Christian Boyd. Just reminds me a lot of Carl Brooks just in terms of the stats, right? Plays at a lower competition, but his stats are just off the chart in terms of PFF grades, same as Carl Brooks last year. This is a guy that maybe could even fall to the 6 and, a team could get away with a steal. Christian Boyd out of Northern Iowa here, an 89.0 PFF grade last year with 3 sacks. Pass rush grade, amazing, 89.4. Run stop rate, really great at 7.8%. Pass rush win rate at 16.4%. He's 6'4", 317 pounds. You can plug him right into the middle, help against the run. The Packers need like another guy, another run stopper to add with, TJ Slayton on early downs, and I think Christian Boyd could be that. So here at pick 142, we are going Christian Boyd, defensive lineman out of Northern Iowa. Now we're in the 5th round. We have 2 picks remaining, one here in the 5th and all the way in the 7th due to all the trades we made. And I think I'm going to address running back here. I've kind of been waiting, and I've yet to draft Dylan Laub or mock Dylan Laub to the Green Bay Packers yet. And I really like his versatility, not only as a runner, but as a receiver. I mean, look at these receptions over the last 2 years. 68 receptions for 708 yards last year. I mean, he's practically a wide receiver. 49 receptions in 2022 for 474 yards. Rushing grade 79.0. Last year he had 745 rushing yards. The year before that he had 1,200 rushing yards with 15 touchdowns. He's 5'10", 208. I think he adds another layer of versatility, like a versatile back into that backfield. We have Josh Jacobs and A.J. Dillon, 2 like power runners. And yes, Josh Jacobs is also wonderful in the receiving game. I know a lot of people were saying, oh, the Packers are losing their receiving back. If you look at the last 3 seasons, Jacobs actually has more receptions and yards than Aaron Jones in the last 3 seasons, which is something I was shocked to see. But I still think they could add another versatile type of running back, more of a receiving back. And I think Dylan Laub is that. So I'm going to go running back here in round 5 at pick 169, going Dylan Laub, halfback out of New Hampshire. Now we're on our final pick at 255. You know it's coming. I'm going another safety. I'm going Keaton Oladapo. I'm going to do it every time if he's available at 255. I think he's a 6th round, maybe even a 5th rounder in my opinion. I don't think he falls to the 7th, but if he's here in the 7th, players have fallen. Like a Carrington Valentine fell all the way to the 7th, where a lot of people had him ranked in the 5th, right? So it happens. Same with Anthony Johnson Jr. So Keaton Oladapo is a guy that I think could just play slot corner, right? But you could also put him in the box. You can play him deep. He has so much versatility. And I love adding all these safeties, right? You have Jaden Hicks, you have DTD, and Keaton Oladapo, just complete like levels of versatility. We've gone over Oladapo a ton, and I think this would just be another cherry on top, another safety added into this room, and just really round out that safety room and not make it a need, not make it a worry anymore. So with our final pick, we are going Keaton Oladapo in this mock draft. All right, so now let's go over our draft selections. The first Green Bay Packers 2024 7-round mock draft with trades. First, we trade up to pick 22 and we select Cooper DeJean, giving up a 4th round and a 6th round. I think that's fine value. That's the exact value on the Rich Hill trade value chart. And man, what Cooper DeJean could add to this defense, add to this cornerback room at outside corner, at slot cornerback, or in a pinch if you need to play him at safety. But I see him as a cornerback and a good one in the NFL. So I would love this pick. I know a lot of people want the Packers to go after Cooper DeJean. We'll see if it happens on draft night. Then we go Cooper squared with the 2nd round pick. You're going Edgerrin Cooper. I believe we did a trade down here. Yes, we traded down from 41 to 49, picking up another 4th round. So we actually upgraded our 4th round with the trade up back to the trade down and still got Edgerrin Cooper, who I think is tremendous value here at 49. He could be that will linebacker in this 4-3 defense, sideline to sideline, coverage linebacker, which the Packers still technically need. Then we go Jaden Hicks at pick 56, which we also did a trade. So our first 3 picks involved a trade. Hey, Gutekunst likes to move around. I could see it happening. They have so much ammunition. We traded up 2 spots, only gave up a 6th round here to go get our guy, Jaden Hicks at safety, our new box guy, our robber roll type of safety, get into the box, help against the run, which the Packers need. Then at 88, we go Cedric Van Pran, depth interior offensive lineman at center. Could potentially take over for Josh Myers, who I see the Packers moving on from after this season. So Van Pran could be set up to be that starting center. He won't be rushed right into it, right? Then we go DTD here at 101. We traded down a bit from 91 to 101, picking up a 5th rounder for 2 7th rounds. And I really like DTD. I think he gives you versatility. All the safeties I got in this mock draft give you tremendous versatility and would just completely shore up the safety room. Then we go Christian Jones in the 4th round, a tackle, right tackle the last 2 seasons, left tackle the year before that. They need depth at tackle after moving on from Bakhtiari. Yes, they have Caleb Jones and Luke Tenuta, but I think they want to add another. Then we go Christian Boyd, who just tremendous PFF grades the last 2 seasons, a run stuffer. I think he's like 316 pounds. The Packers could use another one of those next to TJ Slayton on early downs. Then we go Dylan Laub. We address running back in the 5th round. I think he had 68 receptions last year. Absolutely insane. Adding another versatile receiving type of back into that backfield with Josh Jacobs and AJ Dillon would be awesome. Then we round things up. We didn't have a 6th round due to all the trades we made. We go Keaton Oladapo, safety at Oregon State. We've talked about him so much. You know how much I like him. Hopefully the Packers can nab him in this draft. Let me know what you think of this mock draft and what you thought of the trades. Did you like them? I personally thought there was great value where I made the trades, whether that was trading up or trading down to get the players we needed / best player available that fit our draft board. Let me know what you think of this mock draft. What was your favorite pick? What picks did you not like? And were there other players on the board when I was selecting that you wanted me to draft? But I appreciate you guys coming by to the video. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like down below. It helps out the channel a ton, helps with the whole YouTube algorithm. But I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Pack Go.